I've been waiting more than a decade to get these wings. That's right, Ace Combat 7 is finally here. After 11 plus years, we're finally playing a brand new Ace Combat game, going back to Strange Reel one more time, and I'm very excited about it. So excited, in fact, that I have both the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game that I'm looking forward to tearing into and trying to find out which one plays better. But honestly, the reason that I got these two is because each of these, for pre-order bonuses, you got something a little different. For the PlayStation 4 version of the game, you got Ace Combat 5, the Unsung War, that you'll be able to play as a PS2 classic. And for the Xbox One version, you get Ace Combat 6, Fires of Liberation, which was the last numbered Ace Combat game from 2007. So here they are. I'm very excited about these. I'm going to open them up. I don't think there's anything in there, but of course, these are the wings that you got if you pre-ordered one of the games from GameStop. I didn't pre-order both because I didn't think I was going to get two sets of wings. So I'm looking forward to wearing this at some point. I am one of those weirdos that actually wears collectibles rather than just keeping these away. So without further delay, let's go ahead and we'll open the Xbox One version up. And while I'm doing that, I don't know anything about this. I have kept myself in the dark on Ace Combat 7 on purpose. I remember watching the intro trailer where they were talking about some of the storyline stuff, but honestly, I didn't pay much attention, and I have been on blackout since. I want to find out about this game firsthand. Ace Combat is probably one of the few series that I will buy regardless of reviews, because I've been such a fan for years. I'm going to get to that as part of this review, or as part of this episode of Unsealed. So there is Skies Unknown, and we'll go ahead and we'll take the Xbox One seal off there, maybe. Like I said, I don't think that there's anything major in here. Usually these are just the discs themselves, and that's about it. There we go. There it is. So when we open that up, and I think it's just the disc. Nothing really exciting in here. That's what the disc looks like. Feel the rush of superior air power. Innovation in the sky. Highly detailed aircraft coupled with photorealistic scenery. Choose your jet. Discover 50 aircraft across all game modes. Return to Strange Reel. That's a big deal. Going back to an alternative universe with a history steeped in Ace Combat lore. So we're going to be hearing about places that we haven't heard about in a long time. Own the Skies, you can also play this multiplayer. I really don't care about multiplayer, honestly. So that is the Xbox One version. And the PS4 version, I don't think is going to be much different. But again, we'll open this up anyway, because as soon as I wrap up this episode of Unsealed, these are getting installed. Because I'm going to be playing these tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully a little bit of Sunday too, provided that winter doom 2019 doesn't take out our power here in Western Mass. So trying to get this opened up. Again, I am really, really looking forward to playing this. This is a series that I have bought every console version there's been. Even the Salt Horizon, which honestly was not very good, I still got that day one because it's an Ace Combat game, and I love those games because they're a mix of sim and arcade action, so they're very approachable for players of any skill level. That's what the disc looks like on the inside there. Requires 37 gigs of install space. What is the Xbox One version? Doesn't say. Interesting. Doesn't say how much space. Oh, there it is. 36. So the Xbox One version, it takes a little bit less than the PS4, probably because of the VR missions, of which I will not be playing because I don't have VR. So we've opened up two brand new games, but that's not really why we're here. That's not what we do on the show. We open up older games. But before I get there, I want to talk a little bit about my history with the Ace Combat series, because it's been a long time that I've been invested in these games. My favorite up to now is this game right here. And I've opened this up on Unsealed before. This is the copy I opened up. This is Ace Combat Zero, the Belkan War. This game introduced squadrons, introduced enemy squadrons that you had to take on. This had a very Spanish bullfighter feel to it, at least with the music. A lot of fun to play. I liked having a backstory to Ace Combat 5 here. This game here is the backstory to this. So this is a prequel. This is the game that came after. Both excellent games, and again, this guy right here is what you got when you pre-ordered Ace Combat 7 for the PS4. So I'm hoping to stream this at some point and to kind of play it so you can check it out if you haven't seen it before. So Ace Combat Zero is my favorite game overall in the series. I love the full motion video that's used here where they interview pilots. I'm a big fan of FMV. I know not a lot of people are, but I certainly am. As I said, I like the enemy squadrons. The music is amazing, especially for the final battle. Just a great game all around. It's kind of a black sheep with some Ace Combat players, but for me, it is my favorite. This is up there, but not quite. There's a game that comes before Ace Combat 5 on my list, and that's this guy right here. This is Ace Combat 4, which I just recently started playing again on my PS2 while I was getting ready for 7 to come out. This game came out in 2001. It's hard to believe this game is old enough to vote soon. And this game was significant because it boosted graphics to 60 frames per second. It boosted a bunch of detail. It was next-generation gaming, and Namco really nailed it with this particular release. My favorite mission in this game is Invincible Fleet, which has amazing music, and going and just strafing a stuck fleet of enemy ships and hearing your AWACS plane telling you which ships you've sunk is just, it's the coolest thing. I love this game. Really, I love all three for the PS2. It's a great little trilogy. If you haven't played them, I strongly recommend it. Now, we can go back to where it all started, before it was called Ace Combat here in the States, when it was called just Air Combat. This is a 1995 game. This is a re-release, by the way, for the original PlayStation. I got this not too long after I got my PlayStation, and it was because I had a little bit of extra money. So when I bought this, I fell in love with it. It was very arcadey, which I like. It wasn't overly simulated, where I had to do a bunch of pitching and yawing and things that I didn't understand. It was very easy to get into. It maintained its arcade roots. This is based, of course, on the, I believe, Ace Combat 22. It was called in arcades. So this was a lot of fun to play. Now, graphically, it doesn't really hold up, I don't think, today. But I still like to go back to it. It has a great soundtrack, too. And oh, by the way, the game that I probably like least in the series, and it's not necessarily the game's fault, this is Ace Combat 3 Electrosphere. The reason that I don't like this game very much is because the story just does nothing for me. The storyline, even in the original Air Combat, the briefings made you feel like you were part of something, that you were engaging in missions, that there was some tension. With this, it just felt too real. It felt too futuristic and not realistic, whereas Air Combat used traditional planes. There were only some in this game, and a lot of them were futuristic, and I didn't dig it. I do have it in my library because, again, it's an Ace Combat game, and I like to have them. But this is probably my least favorite in the collection. Game that I did not show, which is Ace Combat Assault Horizon. This is an okay game. It's not one that I'm over the moon for, but it's certainly different, and I certainly like the fact that it takes Ace Combat into more of a real-world scenario with real-world locations while having that Ace Combat arcade-style feel. There's one game missing, isn't there? Yeah. It is the purpose of this Unsealed episode and something I have been chomping at the bit to open. I have been sitting on this for a while, and now I have it, and now I can open it. And it is in a collector's case, so we're going to be taking it out of its case and then opening it for the first time. This is 1997's Ace Combat 2. This $59.99 price tag is still on there. This is still in a plastic protective case. We're going to take that out of there because we're going to open it. I'm sure the person who sold this, if they found out about it, would be surprised, although they probably don't care. So we're going to try and take it out of there. There we go. So we're going to take it out of the case, just like that. And here it is. This is my second favorite Ace Combat game of all time. Yes, despite the fact that it's on the original PlayStation. This does take us back to 1997, and I've talked a lot about what I think of 1997 in the past. 1997 is my favorite year of all time in console gaming. So many great games came out that year. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Parappa the Rapper, Colony Wars, NHL 98, Rage Racer, and oh, by the way, this game, Ace Combat 2, which took the original Air Combat and juiced it up a ton with a better storyline, more missions, branching missions, more aircraft, extra bonuses, and more. This game rocks. The soundtrack is amazing. In fact, the first Retro World Expo that I ever went to, which was, wow, was that back in 2015? Yeah, it was back in 2014, 2015. I actually downloaded the soundtrack from iTunes, and I still listen to it quite often. It is a fantastic soundtrack, and there's a lot of guitar-driven rock in there, which I really enjoy. So here it is. It still has the ID seal on it. It still has the little hangable tag if I wanted to hang it on my wall, but we're not going to do that. We're going to open this up. And when we look on the back of the case, it says Superior Enemy Intelligence on there. Let's see. We've devised a weapon that's deadlier than a smart bomb. It's called a Smart Pilot. Now Ace Combat 2 pits you against a whole squadron of them, 3D polygon jet jocks that maneuver like the real deal, turning every scorching sortie and dogfight into a kill or be killed situation. With nearly double the missions of the predecessor, you'll double your chances of taking out the enemy or taking a heat seeker up the exhaust. The most realistic dogfights ever created for the PlayStation game console. Of course, the console is only 2 years old at this point. Total 3D polygon environment. Fly freely and unload your arsenal with reckless abandon. Advanced artificial intelligence, cunning and calculating enemy pilots, 30 formidable missions, nearly double the missions of Air Combat. So again, that's talking about the expansiveness from the first game to this game. Awesome mission debriefings, dynamic diagrams, making and moving maps for surgical strikes. One of the things I love about this series, and something that we saw even more in the PlayStation 2 versions of these games, is that the pre-mission briefings really draw you in, makes the game feel immersive. It gives it purpose. It gives you purpose. It motivates you for the missions ahead, and I love that. And they really, although Air Combat had them, they really took on a whole new definition here. Secret planes and hidden missions. The better you fly, the more you'll reveal. There are also medals that you can earn in this game as well, and you could collect all those medals to see how many that you can unlock. It is one player. There is a memory card option for one block. You're definitely going to want to save your progress. It's not a game you're probably going to finish in one sitting, although it is possible. And this is one of those games that was analog controller compatible. Now, note I'm not saying DualShock compatible. There was a dual stick analog controller that came out before that, and this game was able to use it. So, enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and get this guy open because I'm really excited to do that. So here we are, opening a game from 1997, my second favorite game in the series. I've now had the ability to open not only my favorite game in Ace Combat 0, which I opened up in 2018, but now I am opening up Ace Combat 2 for the first time. This is the first time I've opened this game since 97. I still have my original copy in my office. So we'll take the seal off there, and we're going to open up the ID tag. I'm going to try and keep that on there. Oh, man, the fact that no one has played this game, it's just been sitting in a collector's case. Oh, so cool. Let's go ahead and we're going to open this up. I'm going to make sure the disc doesn't fall out first. Oh, this still has plastic at the bottom. Whoops. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up. When we do, there is a Pac-Man advertisement. We'll get there. I love the disc art for this game. You can see it here. The disc art looks awesome. It's not generic. We'll take a look at the instruction manual in a second. Let's see what Pac-Man has to say. I think these are advertisements for other Namco games. So we have Pac-Man World, another great game for the PlayStation. Not the all-time great, but certainly an enjoyable platformer in my opinion. We also have, oh boy, Ace Combat 3 Electrosphere. So it looks like this is the reprint of the original game, so it might have come out a year later or 2 years later. Dragon Valor and R4, both great games, both games that I own. As a matter of fact, all of these I own. Let's see. Point Blank 2, Time Crisis, so we have some light gun games. The Namco Museum games, Volumes 1 and 3, which were greatest hits versions. Also, Tekken 3, Air Combat, and Soul Blade are here too. So it looks like this is a re-release or a reprint, but that's okay. So let's take a look at the instruction manual. Yes, this episode is running a bit long. I apologize, but I've been really excited for this one to go ahead and get this game open. The manual is in black and white. You're not going to see a lot here. The screenshots are pretty small, but we do have some story here. In the middle of the manual, we do have one of Namco's warranty cards right there. Game purchase, Ace Combat 2. Where'd you hear about this game? What other types of video game hardware or computers do you own or plan to own? So again, thinking back to 97, 98, 99, 2000, we have Nintendo 64, Macintosh, IBM CD-ROM, Sega Saturn, 3DO, or other. Rank the types of games you prefer from 1 to 5. Action, sports, fighting, simulation, or RPG. How many games do you plan to buy for the PlayStation game console in the next 6 months? Over 11. How many PlayStation games do you own? Well over 10. I'm actually over 660 now. And other comments. So that is what that looks like. This really is a fantastic game. I could go on and on about it, and at some point maybe I'll film myself playing it so you can check it out for yourself if you haven't seen it. Until then, if you check out gameplay on YouTube, I do recommend it. Now, there are some hints here, and something that's worth mentioning about the hints. You can achieve the highest emblem. So as you destroy enemies, you receive emblems or medals. Try to finish the mission as fast as possible with the highest score to obtain a better emblem. Collect medals. We talked about that. If certain enemies are destroyed, you receive medals. So you have enemy aces for the first time, which are definitely challenging, especially on the higher difficulties. And hidden missions. If you destroy targets that are hidden in the mission, additional missions may appear. So again, those are those branching paths that are different from the regular branching paths, as there are a couple of different selections you can make. So there's replay value. You want to go ahead and replay the game after beating it for the first time and try the missions that you skipped the first time. It also has a list of the different planes in the game, F4, F16, F-117A. The F-14 is here, the Tomcat, the lovable Tomcat, the Su-35, F-22, which is one of my favorite planes, the EF-2000, the MiG-21, and more. So I'm very excited. After this video, as I said, when it wraps up, I'm going to go ahead and start installing Ace Combat 7 on my consoles. That's where I'm going to be spending at least the next day, Saturday, playing these games. I'm very excited to play another Ace Combat game, and I'll probably post some impressions either on Twitter, or maybe I'll jump on YouTube and talk about them at another time, or maybe even stream the game as long as there are no issues with copyright or whatever. I'd love to hear from you whether you've played any of the Ace Combat games. Are you planning to get Ace Combat 7, or do you have it already? Do you have a favorite Ace Combat game of your own? Go ahead and leave those in the comments below. I do promise to read them. And until the next video comes, which will be in a few days, take care of yourselves and each other. See you later.